Hey, it's Aaron the Metal Theologian, and today I'm going to talk about, back to the new wave of British heavy metal, I guess. I'm going to talk about my Neat 45s. So, a couple sort of preliminary words. I mean, a lot of these fucking new wave of British heavy metal records, or new wave records, as John Haupt called them, which I always thought was awesome. These new wave records, a lot of them are fucking rare as hell and expensive, and a lot of them are like Saxon and, Def Leppard and shit that's cool, but, is generally like stuff off the records as opposed to little sort of private one-off bands and those sorts of things. Neat records, in my always humble opinion, really kind of did the best job of probably any label of walking the line between having bands of some stature, but still underground enough to be like awesome, to be blunt about it, and also having good enough distribution that these things turn up. I mean, you don't see them a whole lot on this side of the Atlantic, but if you decide you want some of these things, you can look at some of the UK distros, and they really aren't all that expensive. And I don't want to pull a pop off on you here and tell you, oh, this fucking record is like, $10 to $12, and you go look it up and it's fucking $400 or something like that. Hopefully I won't do that. But relative to a lot of these other ones, I mean, you start looking for shit like the Destroyer 7-inch, or the fucking Dragon Slayer 7-inch, or Hollow Ground, or who the fuck what else? The Satan 7-inch, like half that shit on Guardian, and that shit's just expensive as shit. And, you look for some of the MCA ones, maybe they're not as hard to find, but they're just not worth getting, I mean, you don't really need a copy of the Stoking Up the Fires of Hell single by Quartz, although I do happen to have one, and it's kind of a cool record to have. But it's on the fucking LP. You go find the record, and you don't really need it, because there's nothing particularly special about it. With Neat, just about every one of these records is at least worth checking out, and, actually, they're all pretty fucking good. I'm trying to think of a clunker in the lot, and I can't. And as far as bang for buck, as far as sounding good and everything else, they just rule. So without further ado, with further ado, because I got a little soda speak here, you can tell I got a head start. And just sort of as an accompanying note on this, when I say a little so to speak, part of that is just sort of the idiomatic use of the word a little bit, like, I'm going to do a little record showing or something like that. I mean, that's not the best example, you know what I'm saying? But the other part is just a humble admission of the fact that my soda speaks are very little compared to the actual soda speak on a Grown Men record night. Although I do like to think that my discussions of soda are frank. They definitely aren't at that level of detail, and I don't even know. So anyway, without further ado on that, I am drinking the, I ripped the goddamn thing, but this is the Blueberry Soda by Marine Root, who I first discovered because they did a root beer that was pretty fucking tasty. But then I found this, I don't think I'd ever had a blueberry soda before, so I did have a couple sips, but for the sake of appearances, here we go. That shit's pretty fucking tasty. I was expecting to hit you over the head with the blueberry. Like somebody's like I thought it was gonna be like Laffy Taffy or something like that. Like blueberry, But it's really not. It's sort of like it's almost like the carbonated water. It sort of like fills your mouth and sort of primes your palate for the blueberry flavor that then sort of creeps in and just sprinkles its fairy dust on your tongue and on the inside of your mouth, sort of saturating your mucous membranes with blueberry goodness. It's a very nice soda. I don't know if I'll get it again, quite honestly, but there are 3 more of those in the fridge, and I will drink those with pleasure. So now, without further ado, I'm going to try and mix these up a little bit, just because I don't feel like doing them numerically or alphabetically or anything. But this is the only one I have that doesn't have a picture sleeve. So this right there, displaying the awesome Neat label, is the Warrior Dead When It Comes to Love 7-inch. I hope you can see that. That label rules, doesn't it? So you've probably all seen it already on your Venom records and shit like that. But this band, I don't really know if they did anything else. It's not quite clear to me whether this is the same band that did that for Europe only EP, which isn't really all that great. Although I probably should have kept it instead of letting it go. But this is a pretty good band. It's not. They're not like incredible. Actually, I think it is because I think Kansas City was on that other one too. So, but obviously there have been a few bands called Warrior. I mean, I personally have records by at least 4 Warriors. These guys, a Swedish one, a different UK one, and the American one. Anyway, they're pretty rockin'. There's something about this record that doesn't quite hit me right, and I can't really articulate it. You should probably listen to this one for yourself because it's a good record. I don't have anything bad to say about this record, but when I listen to this one, I listen to the other ones next to it, there's just a certain something that's missing. And, yeah, like I said, I know what it is. I think some of the sleeves were stamped or something like that. I might have even had a picture sleeve, although I don't believe it did. I had these lying down. I'm going to have to do this differently if I want to mix them up, so bear with me. This is like my classic shot with my head halfway down while I'm reaching for the fucking records under my desk. So, okay, next up. This is sort of like a random pull, except I've totally rigged it because it's only neat singles in here. Alright, so here's the next one. Fucking Axe Crazy by Jaguar. This is a great record, and it sounds like a different singer than on the previous one, the Backstreet Woman single that came out on Heavy Metal. That's the back of that. And obviously the Neat label there. This is fucking rockin' as hell. I mean, this is about, not quite, but about as metal as the new wave shit got. And goddamn if this isn't a cool record. And goddamn if Neat didn't somehow manage to get more out of most of the bands they dealt with than Heavy Metal. It's funny how they do the same band, like, almost at the same point in time, and for some reason the Neat shit would sound a lot better. Now that Heavy Metal Heroes 12 inch is fucking brilliant, and Jaguar sounds really good on that too. And I like that Backstreet Woman single on Heavy Metal a lot, but compared to Axe Crazy, it's just not as good. And actually, on that note, speaking of bands who sounded a hell of a lot better on Neat than it did on Heavy Metal, we have this bitch's Sin 7 inch here. Now again, this isn't like this fucking, this isn't as metallic as that Jaguar, right? This is, I don't know, man. It's like this would have been glam if they had known what the hell they were doing, but they didn't. So it's songy. It's sort of like it wants to head in that direction, but like it just doesn't really end up there. It really is just kind of cool metal. But this is a fucking really good record. Really good songs, and it's just sounds so much better. I mean, obviously that LP on Heavy Metal is just a bummer of a record. It's another band too, actually. They sounded really good, I thought, on Heavy Metal Heroes too. But Predator was fucking lame, man. And I thought they got a lot of it back with Invaders. I don't like that, what's it called, Ice Angels 12 inch too. But I just showed that in one of my first videos, actually. But yeah, that first LP, man, what a fucking clunker. I don't know what happened over at Heavy Metal. It's like they had a good band. I don't know. Alright, so next up, man, here's an easier one. This is the classic Raven, Don't Need Your Money single. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, their very first single. It's definitely the first one on Neat. And the B-side is Wiped Out. Go figure. It's an early version of that. Bam. Fucking never get sick of that, man. Let me just go ahead and cheat here and bust out the other Raven I have. It has a little bit of water damage on it, but still looks pretty nice. It's the Hard Ride single. It's the second one. I forgot what the B-side on this is. Crazy World. But there we go. Fucking great, great shit. Alright, here's another band that we've discussed before. White Spirit. That's still a fucking funny name, man. Sounds like it should be called Hitler is Awesome. But it's called Backs to the Grind. And the B-side is a Cheetah. And yeah, these guys were maybe even bigger Deep Purple fans than I am, although I kind of doubt it. But this was Yeah, this is a fucking great record. It really is. Back to the Grind, though, actually, this is worth saying, because Cheetah, that song was just fucking fantastic. When I first heard it on that comp Lars put together, I'll just fucking admit it. And, you know, the fucking organ is heavy, and the whole fucking thing is heavy. Back to the Grind is a decent song, okay? It's good, but it would have been more at home on the LP, where you sort of listen to the whole thing and sort of absorb it and take in the whole package, as opposed to Cheetah, where it just gets in and makes its statement and gets back out again. You know what I mean? Cheetah showed up on too many compilations, man. I swear to Christ, I used to have half a dozen new wave compilations with Cheetah on them. And it sucks, because it's a great song. When you overexpose it like that, it becomes tedious, right? But it's still fucking awesome, man. So, let's show this one off. This is, I think, the earliest one I have, since I don't know the first two, which weren't metal anyway. But this is the first Tigers of Pantang 7-inch. Don't Touch Me There. You can tell that metal hadn't quite found all its idioms yet, or else it probably would have been called something like Don't Touch Me There. Unless it's addressed to a dude or something. I don't know. I've never listened to lyrics. B-side is Burning Up and Bad Times. You have Jess Cox and these guys. And I wonder whose plane that is. I don't know. Actually, I don't really give a shit either. Let's face it. Very cool record, though, man. You can still hear they definitely have that sort of Tiger sound going on. It's not nearly as stylized as a Wildcat. By the time they put that LP out, they had really, you know, found their sound and their idiom, and they had settled into their groove. They were just fucking rocking it. They're still kind of finding their way a little bit more on that 7-inch. I mean, shit, you can tell by this corny-ass drawing on the cover, right? I mean, how fully realized does that look? I mean, on the one hand, it looks cool, right? On the other hand, it looks like they're winging it, you know? And that's what makes this record actually really good, is that sort of... So, let's see what else. We're getting down to the bottom here. Actually, let me show this one. I was going to play this one again before I did this video, because I don't remember what it sounds like, but I forgot. See, I just take a hit off my thing here because I don't have anything to say about this fucker because I haven't played it in so goddamn long. Definitely has a new wave look to it. I don't recall this being bad. I don't recall it making the impression on me that some of the other ones did. Going off of memory, I'd probably lump it in with Warrior as being fine, but a little something missing, which is unusual for Neat. And I'll contrast that. I'm kind of building up to some of my favorites here. I'll contrast that, though, with this one, which is one of my favorites. Fucking Crucifixion. It's funny, these guys made 3 records, and they're all very different. One of them was the Green Eyes 12-inch, which I think was easily the weakest, although it's still good, alright? It's just compared to the singles, it wasn't as good. This is the Take It or Leave It single, which is like, has, I think it's a different singer. It's a higher pitch, though, On the Run. There you go. And if you want to know what I'm comparing it to, fuck, hang on. God damn it, I'm dropping a bunch of shit. Alright, fucking just look how awesome that fucking thing is. I love how the skeleton has a fucking 13 card there, too, by the way. Can you see that? Anyway, yeah, Crucifixion. This fucker rocks. It's very different sounding, though, than this one. Are you ready? Oh, this is a Fox 12-inch. This is the original. Fuck, and of course the goddamn... There you go. Goddamn camera, right? There's the Fox. The B-side of this is Death Sentence. The Fox also appeared in a different version on the All Hell Let Loose 12-inch, which is a lot easier to find than this thing. I'm actually kind of proud to say when I got this, the pound was really weak relative to the dollar. So even though it was priced high, I ended up getting a deal on it. So yeah, I'm kind of shameless when it comes to that shit. Working the avenues. So yeah, that's a fucking killer record though. That Take It or Leave It 7-inch though is just as good. It's very different. But I don't know what else to say, man. It just fucking kills. It's fucking awesome. You know what else fucking kills? How about this? The Aragorn 7-inch. 2 songs, fucking both awesome. Look how young those guys look, man. fucking like like if you're at the YMCA hanging out in the shower, like that's pretty much what you're looking for is Aragorn. So, not that I'm passing judgment on everyone's proclivities as long as they're of age, but yeah, I don't know. But this is a fucking awesome record, man. They had their fire in the belly. Fire. And this fucking record is smoking. It's fucking awesome, man. Seriously, that is easily one of the best ones on the label. I'm going to jump ahead now to one of the bands you've been waiting for. There it is, Venom, the In League with Satan 7-inch. And this actually has an even, in case you haven't heard it, is an even more raw mix than on the LP. I've seen some comps where it says, original mix of In League with Satan, and it's actually the same as off the album. It doesn't have that backmash part that's on the LP. It just goes right in with the and yeah, it sounds so fucking primitive. Live Like an Angel pretty much sounds the same as on the LP. But you won't believe how fucking brutal In League with Satan sounds. Like, no wonder this blew everyone's mind. And, of course, we have the Bloodlust 7-inch. It's not a purple one, I'll just tell you that right now. The B-side of In Nomine Satanas. And the first appearance of that Venom logo there, I think. Which actually, as far as I know, is the first, like, they were the first, like, band to, like, combine, like, all the satanic symbols into one sort of thing. Like, Running Wild did that later, too. That's really kind of funny. That's sort of an 80s thing that, like, got lost, you know. I guess there are a couple bands that still do that, but not as many. Anyway, fucking awesome. 2 songs, just both absolute killer. I mean, what can you say, you know? And then this one, too, which is probably a little more common in its 12-inch form with Bursting Out. But there's the Die Hard 7-inch, which has Die Hard and Acid Queen. 2 songs that I kind of hope you all know and love. There's the lyrics on the back, which is kind of unusual. Boy, these guys are so fucking evil, man. Aren't they scaring the bejesus out of you? Actually, speaking of covers, they'll scare the bejesus out of you. You can tell these guys aren't fucking around. Fist. It's one of my favorite unintentionally gay band names. And this is also one of my very favorite records on the Neat label. No shit. Name, rank, and serial number, and you'll never get me up in one of those. There's 2 awesome songs. They're definitely at the punky end of the new wave spectrum, along with, you know... I mean, they're really all the way on that end of the spectrum. Like, if they were any more punk, they wouldn't be metal anymore. But this fucking thing just kicks. It's awesome. It's like... I was going to compare it to Jameson Raid, because they kind of remind me of that sort of thing too, but this is way better, man. And this used to be a pretty cheap one, so you used to really get these for like $10, so it shouldn't be too awful, man. It's worth the investment. I have their second LP, Back with a Vengeance, which actually has the guy, what's his name, Glenn Coates from Hollow Ground singing on it. It's a pretty damn cool record. I used to have Turn the Hell On. I wish I'd kept it. It's another thing I look back on and go, why the fuck did I let that go? Actually, I know why, because I didn't like it that much, but I was dumb. I should have kept it. That's a really cool record, too, but that 7-inch, man, that's like what Fist is about. Like, that's why they were a great band. It's like, it's all encapsulated in those 2 songs. If that was all they had ever done, they would have been of consequence already, just on the strength of that. So let's see. Oh yeah, I have one more here. Dum-da-dum. The Blitzkrieg 7-inch. One of the greatest fucking things ever. I'm sure you know the song Blitzkrieg because you know who did it. Buried Alive is just as good. And, you know, it's interesting because the singer on this, Brian Ross, look how primitive that back cover looks. Brian Ross obviously sang on the Satan LP and some other stuff. Kind of moved around a little bit, in fact, too. But this is really his, like, career-defining performance. He just wails on this fucking thing. Not even so much on Blitzkrieg as on Buried Alive, but he's, like, engaged in that, whereas even on the Satan record, which I like a lot, you know, he sounds a little bit more sort of professional. You know, like, there's a little bit more distance between him and what he's doing. And with this thing, it's just like balls out. He's right there. He's in the band. It's not about his career. It's about nothing but Blitzkrieg and this fucking single that he's doing right now. And goddamn, if this isn't one of the greatest fucking things ever, too. So, yeah, so there's some really essential shit there. And I always try to stop short of the buy recommendations. But the fact is, if you're interested in getting New Wave 7 inches, for bang for buck, you're not going to do better than the Neat shit. So it's worth going after it. And yeah, I know a couple of these have appreciated considerably since I bought them. But some of them, like the Fist and the Aragorn, haven't so much. Those Venom ones, even, you know, they're not like $100 records. So I wish you the best, because that's some fantastic shit. So I'm looking all fucking blurry. There we go. So anyway, thanks for watching. Got another little stroll down memory lane, man. These are some of the first like rare records I got. Actually, I first started like trying to collect shit that was harder to find, and not just the shit that I could turn up in the wild, even if it would take a while to turn up in the wild. This is really some of the earliest stuff, and it even kind of changed my concept of collecting a little bit, because prior to that, the idea of seeking out a 45 was just foreign to me. As I can tell, it is to some of you in the vinyl community too, you know, because 45s for really all of our lives, I mean, since the 50s, let's face it, well, okay, 60s, you know, 45s have been something they kick off the album, and it's sort of a rip-off. It's something to put in the jukebox, something to play on the radio, and other than that, they're basically trying to get you to pay $5 for 2 songs instead of $7.99 for the whole album, right? So you go, what a crock of shit, right? This was really kind of the point in my record collecting career where I started to appreciate a 7-inch single as a complete artistic medium in itself. And that's what Neat has going for it. That's what Neat was the fucking masters of. And this is kind of what I was trying to say at the beginning, in fact. These fucking things, they're little bits, they're little pieces of art. They're not knockoffs of the albums. They're not, you know, the sort of second-rate shit for people who aren't going to cough up for the record. It's like, you're going to get the LP, and you're going to get the single, and you're going to get 2 different things. The LP is one package, the single's another package, and both are perfect, and both are essential, and both are a genius in their own way. So that's my little speech about 45s. I'll add to it that if you're listening to 45s and you're trying to do housework or you're trying to read a book, I'm not surprised if you're going to get pissed, because you have to keep getting up and flipping them. What you do is you sit down and you just immerse yourself in it. Have a friend over, sit next to the stereo, don't get up and walk back and forth on the couch. Just take your box, sit it in front of the stereo on the floor, sit down next to it, and listen to them one at a time. And listen to side 1 and then listen to side 2 like you would an LP. Take in the whole thing, and you'll start to appreciate the statement, and you'll appreciate the brevity of the statement, because you can say just as much in the 7 minutes that you've got on a 45 as you can in the 40 minutes you have on an LP, if you're a great band and you've really got something to say. And that's why 45s are awesome. Alright, end of speech now, seriously. But yeah, I've got to fucking stand up for these guys, because they don't get the love they deserve, and they deserve a fuckload of love. Till next time.